If you're thinking about buying a condo in Florida, especially here along the Emerald Coast in places like Destin, 30A, or Panama City Beach, there's one thing that could absolutely ruin your experience if you're not prepared, and that's the Milestone inspection. Make sure to stick around because I'm also going to go over the latest update from Governor DeSantis. Hey, I'm Danny Margagliano with World Impact Real Estate and DestinPropertyExpert.com. I've been helping buyers, sellers, and investors along the Emerald Coast since 2009. In today's video, I'm breaking down what the Milestone inspection is, why it's so important, and how it could throw a major wrench in your condo buying plans if you don't know what to look out for. So let's start with the basics. What is the Milestone inspection? The Milestone inspection is a structural safety inspection now required by Florida law for condo buildings that are 3 stories or taller and at least 30 years old or 25 years old if they're within 3 miles of the coastline. And guess what? That includes a lot of the buildings in Destin and surrounding beach communities. This inspection has to be conducted by a licensed architect or engineer. The goal is to evaluate the structural integrity of the building, things like the foundation, load-bearing walls, electrical systems, balconies, walkways, and even the parking structures. It was created in response to the tragic Surfside condo collapse in South Florida. So while this law is serious and absolutely necessary, it's also caused a ripple effect in the real estate market. Here's why it matters to you as a buyer. If you're under contract to buy a condo in a building that's subject to this inspection and that building hasn't passed it yet, or worse, it failed and needs major repairs, you could be facing tens of thousands of dollars in unexpected assessments. I've seen buyers blindsided. One couple that a colleague worked with had a cash offer accepted on a beachfront condo. Everything looked great on paper, but right after the offer was accepted, they found out the building had recently failed its Milestone inspection. The HOA had already approved a $4 million special assessment to address issues like concrete spalling, waterproofing the balconies, and replacing stairwells. Their portion, $47,000, due within 6 months. The couple backed out and it saved them from a nightmare. But not every buyer is so lucky. So, how do you protect yourself? Here are a few critical steps to take before you ever write an offer. First, ask up front if the building has already undergone the Milestone inspection. This isn't something to find out after you're in contract. Your real estate agent should be asking the listing agent or the HOA immediately. If the building is 3 stories or taller and over 25 years old, especially near the coast, it's likely required. Second, review the actual inspection report. Don't just take someone's word that it passed. You want to see what the licensed engineer or architect found. Even if the building technically passed, it might have been flagged for deferred maintenance, meaning it's only a matter of time before repairs are mandated. Third, and this one is huge, ask for the most recent financials and reserve studies from the HOA. If the association doesn't have adequate reserves and a big project is looming, they may have no choice but to pass the cost directly on to the unit owners. In buildings where the reserves are underfunded, even small issues can result in large special assessments. Also, while we're talking inspections on any condo, I'm always going to recommend a standard home inspection for the interior of the unit. That covers the HVAC, appliances, plumbing, and so on. But the Milestone inspection is about the entire structure. That includes components that no individual owner can really inspect themselves, like the condition of the slab, post-tension cables, exterior stucco, drainage systems, and more. One thing a lot of people don't realize is how often balconies are an issue. These are exposed to salt air, heavy moisture, and sometimes have steel supports inside that rust over time. I've seen Milestone reports recommend that entire buildings restrict access to balconies until repairs are made. Not only is that a safety issue, it could impact your ability to rent or enjoy the unit. So let's talk about that for a minute. Hey guys, it's Danny Margagliano. As much as I love making these videos, there is one thing I love more, and that's helping families and people from all over the US make the move here to the Destin, 30A, and Panama City Beach area. I've helped countless families make the move, so whether you're coming out next week, next month, or even next year, don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is right here on the screen and linked in the description in case you missed the on-screen pop-up. I look forward to helping you and your family make the move to the Emerald Coast of Florida. Rental impact. If you're planning to rent the unit out short term, a milestone inspection can affect your bottom line in a few ways. First, ongoing construction often means reduced bookings. Guests don't want scaffolding outside their window or limited access to common areas like pools or elevators. Second, if the HOA is dealing with compliance issues or insurance hikes tied to structural concerns, those costs are going to affect your net income. And if the building fails to complete repairs in time, lenders may back off, which could hurt resale values. That said, not everything about this is bad news. In fact, for smart buyers, this can be an opportunity. If you find a condo in a building that has already passed its milestone inspection, that's a big point of leverage. You'll likely face less uncertainty, fewer special assessments, and fewer roadblocks with financing. In a way, it gives you a built-in layer of peace of mind that many other buyers may overlook. Let me also give you a quick bonus tip. When you're evaluating condo buildings, ask for rental projections and, when possible, actual rental history, especially if you're buying the unit as a vacation rental or investment property. Although, it's important to realize that many owners use their condo a few times a year and may let friends or family stay there, which can skew the numbers. So while projections are useful, having both actuals and estimates gives you a much clearer idea of performance. But remember, if the building is under repair, that may impact both your current rental potential as well as your future. Here's something else I'll mention. Even if a building isn't old enough yet for a milestone inspection, it's still smart to ask when it will become due. A building that's 24 years old may seem like a safe bet, but 1 year later, all of this could come into play. Planning ahead means you won't be caught off guard. Florida's condo market is evolving. HOA boards, property managers, and real estate professionals like myself are learning fast, staying on top of legislation, and adjusting how we evaluate properties. If you're working with someone who understands these moving pieces, you can still find a great condo, whether it's a beachfront investment or a second home for your family. But wait, with all the new laws and regulation, Governor DeSantis may have just flipped the script to make this whole milestone inspection thing get a lot easier. So let's talk about a recent law that's adding a new wrinkle to all of this. Florida House Bill 913, signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis. This law tweaks some of the milestone inspection and reserve study requirements that went into effect after the Surfside collapse. Most notably, it allows some buildings a little more time to complete their milestone inspections, up to an extra year in certain cases, depending on when the building was constructed and how close it is to the coastline. HB 913 also gives condo associations more leeway in how they handle reserve studies, but, and this is really important, it does not get rid of the requirement to fully fund reserves for critical structural elements. That means even if your building has a little more breathing room, you still need to budget for future repairs, and unit owners can still be hit with large assessments if reserves come up short. So while HB 913 offers a bit more flexibility, it doesn't reduce the risk, it just shifts the timeline a little. As a buyer, you still want to know exactly where the building stands in that process. This is what I help my clients with every single day. I know which buildings are clear, which ones are pending inspection, and which ones to steer clear of. So if you're thinking about buying a condo anywhere along the Emerald Coast, from Panama City Beach to 30A to Destin, let's talk. I'll help you make a smart, informed decision and avoid the types of surprises that turn what should be a dream into a headache. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button, drop a comment below if you've had any experience with milestone inspections, and don't forget to subscribe for more tips on buying smart in Florida's condo market.